human mind. What an amazing thing it is. It can go from one way of desiring alone time to another, to hating alone time. Today, in this episode of The Realm of Nightmares, we explore a project conducted by one man and 3 people he hired. It is called the Lighthouse Project. Now, follow me as we explore into the depths of our minds. Day 1. Incarceration. Guy spends his first 10 minutes in absolute darkness lying on his bed. Every so often he makes a popping sound from his mouth. Minute by minute the popping becomes a hum and then graduates into a whistle as Guy taps his foot impatiently. After the 30-minute mark, he records his first log. 4/1/16. Audio log 30 minutes inside. What a bizarre feeling. My hand is an inch from my face and I can't see it at all. It's pitch black and dead quiet in here. I'm not even sure what to say at this point. I want to hear something other than my breathing bouncing off the walls. 4 hours pass. Guy takes to wandering around in the room, appearing to count the number of steps it takes to reach each wall. The result? Not that many. Day 1. 4/1/16. Audio log 4 hours inside. Getting cold in here. I should have brought a heater or something with me. I've already lost track of how long I've been in here. Maybe that's a good thing. I have to say, this is the worst hotel I've seen. The service is god-awful. Room service, anyone? Guy, to his credit, forces a smile for the cameras and masks the ever-growing anxiousness with humor. But as the passages of lightlessness time stack up, his mild uneasiness begins to shift into paranoia. Day 1. 4/1/16. Audio log. Several hours inside. What's with the cracking sound on this thing? Is this even working? I've said I'm cold 300 times now, and it hasn't changed a single degree. The blanket isn't helping that much. At least gives me a sign that this piece of junk is working. Alright? A knock? A tap? Anything? Throw me a bone here. He sits up with his legs folded on the bed and tears open the first meal packet. He eats it slowly, as though to savor the taste and the new sensations it brings. Perhaps he's waiting 7 hours to experience something new in the room's unchanging pitch before it becomes repetitive. It isn't long until Guy takes the pacing around the room to each of the walls. The audio captures possibly an old conversation he recounts to someone under his breath, plausibly his brother. It's not unusual, Rexford explains. Animals do the same thing when you place them in confined quarters. He's anxious, trapped and bored. The pacing provides input in his life, builds a mechanism to cope with. Eventually, Guy crawls into the bed and tries to rest. He manages to fall asleep for 10 hours, straight tossing and turning relentlessly in his sheets, until he wakes up. The realization takes a moment to draw to him. He rubs his eyes, tries vainly to get his vision back. He falls back into his pillow and sighs loudly. That's right. Shit. The audio captures as an entire day passes in the chamber. The adverse effects of his sensory deprivation begin to intensify and become especially more evident in his 8th log. His work brought him to an isolation chamber constructed within a former nuclear bunker, somewhere off the outskirts of Hempstead, New York, the keepsake of the Cold War. After weeks of lengthy meetings, countless emails, and frustrating phone I found myself from the worst treatment possible. Imagine the success from with a refurbished toilet, up-to-date ventilation, and a metal bed frame. A small table was also there. Bolted atop the table was a lantern, fitted with a bulb that could be changed to different colors via remote control. I have a very loud mind, and vivid thoughts are always trying to squeeze their way out, so there's no doubt that sensory deprivation will take a huge toll on me. That is where the light will come into play. As the colors change, my reaction to those colors different colors in my mind will be noted. Colors stimulate the brain. There is real psychology there. I hope that the changing colors will act as a tether that will allow my senses to cling on to something, and will perhaps help me manage and endure my time in there with minimal negative effects. Thus, the guy dubbed this experiment the Lighthouse Project. The ones overseeing the experiments and picked by the guy himself were Ron Westbrook. They retired as one of the two psychiatrists. Victor Warwick, a instruction. Do not, under any circumstances, stop the test. No matter what is said, screamed, or begged, the door will remain locked until the experiment is complete. The only exception will be if a hospital is needed. Before being taken into a cell, Guy partook in several psychological tests and interviews to examine his mental capability. He takes them a month's worth of military components, toilet paper, and batteries for his In early of April 2016, a study was conducted on the psychological effects of solitary confinement under the influence of lights. It was on a Sunday morning when tragedy inspired for Guy redacted. At their request, we have omitted the names of those involved who did not wish them to be included. He had just sat down with a frothy cup of flat white coffee when the unknown number dialed his phone. Calling from a New York State penitentiary was a prison chaplain, who opened the conversation with, "Good evening, mister." Then, indiscreetly, the chaplain did not hesitate to add, "I regret to inform you about this." The voice, as the guy describes it, was hollow and absent, but trying its best to sound compassionate, like an apathetic machine wired to read an empathetic script. The chaplain continued, "It concerns your brother. Last night he unexpectedly passed away in our custody. The remains have been released to a mortuary and must be claimed within 48 hours or disposition must be made, as provided by law." The call was then affectionately ended with, "We extend our sympathy for your loss." On that day, after that, a letter of condolence was sent. At 3:15 a.m., March 13, Guy's twin had hung himself in his cell, ending a 70-day stretch in solitary confinement. An officer had found his somewhat elevated body motionless and unresponsive. A bedsheet had been used to tie off to a plumbing fixture. Death by slow strangulation. Very few ligature marks visible on the neck. Heavy discharges of vomit from both nose and mouth, as summarized in the investigation report. It had been his 4th year of a 25-year sentence for his second-degree murder. He had been convicted of killing a woman he was attempting to carjack. My little brother had issues. I've always known that. We had just graduated high school when our parents passed away from a car accident. They were both killed almost instantly. We had no aunts or uncles, no trustworthy relatives. We just had each other. He got mixed up with bad people. They got in his head and led him down a bad, very crooked path. But I never gave up on him. After every phone call, every monitored visit, I told him I'd always be here, waiting for his sentence to clear. Guy also had this to add, "I know that I am not alone in my belief that solitary confinement is a monstrous punishment to inmates. My brother had a history of mental issues. He should have been in a hospital, not a prison, let alone an isolated lockup. I believe We've forgotten what it means to correct bad behavior. Torture can't force a broken mind to repair itself. It only forces the mind to behave. That is not a solution or a correction. It's cruelty. Officers from the penitentiary maintained that there's little to no concern that the inmate had been planning to take his own life. Had that been the case, he would have immediately been transferred to a mental health unit. Faced with the cruel separating agent of grief, Guy turned to his research for comfort. Now, let's hit day 2. Day 2. 04216. Audio log. 30 hours inside. They're everywhere, aren't they? All over the grainy darkness. So many of them. Spindly shapes are floating around me. I'm hallucinating. Aimlessly drifting. Bouncing off of nothing. Aimlessly. They are organic. Spores. Swarms of them. All over the place. What day is it? Can anyone hear me up there? I said I'm hallucinating. In view of this, he waves both hands, sifting his fingers through the invisible objects. His mind was manifesting. Before his glimpses started music in the corner. Even snapping his fingers around his the researchers take note of every hallucination Guy experiences. Visual. A kite on the wall. Beams of jellyfish. Spores. A gray cat. Auditory. Static. Pianos. Incoherent whispers. At 6:53 a.m., he is sitting up against the wall, his face buried in his Suddenly, without the slightest portent of warning, he chokes out a gasp and flings himself desperately towards the toilet. He cramps 2 fingers in his mouth, prodding desperately at his throat as he vomits profusely into the bowl. Day 3. 4/3/16. Audio log. 72 hours inside. Down. Oh shit. Oh god. Oh. Some poisonous is inside me. Slid right down my throat. Will I die? Will I fill up with mushrooms? No. I don't want to do this. I want out. Shut it all down, okay? I don't want to be here anymore. Judging by his panicked utterance, he seems to believe he has swallowed one of the spores. The silver lining being Guy's severe episode was that it acted as a perfect gauge for the experiment's next step. Now that the deprivation and quarantine blackness had successfully fried away at his resilience, it's time to administer the treatment. In the next instant, the lamp, which was bolted atop the table, lights up. Due to Guy's eyes most likely being weakened from his time in the same bleak enclosure, the white glow only shines as a dim pale hue in the back of the room. At first, he backs away from it, his expression trapped behind pure shock. It seems that he's completely forgotten about the lamp's existence until now. A glint of joy shimmers across his face. Slowly, he approaches the table and gently rests his head over it. Nothing is said, but a distinct, muffled sigh can be heard. For the remaining duration of the toast, the bowl shifted soft glow into a different color every 8 hours or so. Introducing Guy back into the light, the overseers hope to negate his long days without stimulation, and in a sense, guide back his rationality to fit their increasingly differing schedules. Each overseer agrees to assign themselves a particular color to monitor. Light exposure affects reading. Westbrook. Green. Subject's anxiety and overall mental tension have lessened considerably. His appetite have returned. Good. Rexford. Guy seems uneasy about the room changing color at first. Give me a second. But he seems to be over it. Yellow, being a bold, energetic color, tends to support happy thoughts and optimistic thinking. We especially see this in his recent recordings. Rexford. The compulsion to anxiously pace disappeared with the addition of fluid. Looks to be making him tired. He spends most of the time sleeping during the exposure. At least his circadian rhythm seems to be getting back on track. Cedric has strong aversion to the color purple. He started complaining, growing progressively more restless. Possibly an emotional situation from the subject's past. Claims the walls are moving. The color was not active for very quick. After looking at Guy's reaction to the purple, especially nervous about what would happen with the color I chose. Didn't know what at the time, but I realized that the only red tinted rooms I could think of were the his response has been positive. Small active, even cleaning different exercises and although he's been lying on the bed from some time now. Oh. He's masturbating. Day by day, Guy, who's previously been screaming about small hallucinations, starts to act like himself again, and the positive effects become more tangible. The lights reveal their restorative power over his mind. Wait a second, let's just change the other back to this. I highly doubt Guy was going to hurt the thing. He is locked in stasis right now. In a room that never changes, save for you.